they should try this. Like, let's say you go 20% off Prime Day, brand tailored promotion, 25% off for 1 week.
Mm.
Then do a 30% off for the following week, and then just see how that trails, and you get those long tail sales. You could even go up to 35, 40%. I don't know how nuts you want to get, but if you want to get
Hey.
crazy, let's get crazy, you know?
Let's go up to 80.
So
Let's just give it away for free.
yeah, yeah,
Just a good
you know,
way.
but like you said though, James, like that's the trial and error, like that you can start to see that. So like if there's a conversion, if you get diminishing returns at like 35%, then we know let's go 25% off right away, and then we'll stick with that because you
Yes.
got Prime Big Deal Days. October is coming around the corner. You got Black Friday, Cyber Monday. All of this stuff is going to apply to those. It's a little bit nuanced, a little bit different because it's gift season and stuff like that, but it still should be kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And then another thought too, before you guys decide what you want to do for that sale, check your competitors. Grab Helium 10 for 30 days. Use the Chrome extension, go to your main competitor's listing, check the price, what they had last year's Prime Day. They're most likely going to do that this year. And if they're at only 10%, 15%, 20%, or maybe you guys are like, you know what, we better go all in at 30%. Well, maybe your competitor didn't even discount last year.
Yep.
Maybe you only need to do a 10%. You don't want to give away you don't want to give away money if your competitor isn't doing it. You know what I mean? So you don't want to like shoot yourself in the foot by going too deep, and losing that margin. So, ideally you want to do all of these experiments and be in the black, but sometimes depending on what your goals are, you're going to have to kind of, you might have to be in the red, like we were
Right.
talking about, like the Vine and BSR approaches and things like that. But there is kind of a nice middle ground where you can kind of experiment with different things, because you don't have to be across the board at 20% off. You can have this group of ASINs at 20, this group at 10, this group at, and then like James said, check which one's working. Do a coupon for $1 off on this group, do a coupon for a percentage off on this group, see if the percentage converts over the dollar. It just really is
Right.
customer perception. So
Right.
lots of good options there.
And one really important thing we didn't talk about is that LeBron James is in the new 2025 Amazon Prime Day commercial. This, I think, has a lot of meaning. Anyway, no, the other thing that was actually important that I wanted to talk about was the other piece of this is not only that it's going to be 4 days. The other new piece is, if you saw this, is the today's big deals. So I am wondering if they're going to put out what this is going to be certain deals from big brands are going to be specific to the 4 days. And I'm wondering, you mentioned categories, and I kind of wanted to tie this in there somehow, a nice segue, is if they release the certain brands that are coming out and your brand or your product falls into the same category. I think one of the examples is like Samsung or Levi's or any of the other stuff. If your brand falls into the same category as the one of the big brands that's getting featured on today's big deals, do you go higher with your discounts? Do you go lower? Do you try and stay away? Do you compete on the other days? Are people going to be shopped out? That's another thing to have to kind of, I think we're going to have to figure out how to navigate. And this is obviously the first year for that. So it'd be very interesting to see what certain brands that are not, top shelf brands, but that are pretty close are going to do to kind of compete with these, again, the top shelf people. So,
Yeah, competitive research, like Eric was talking about earlier, mark it down. If you're look what other people are doing, or other big brands or little brands, just compile that information. Helium 10 is a great extension to kind of look at, or even at the event, do a screenshot, right? Do some searching on Amazon during these events, screenshot it of your competitors, save it in a folder, reference back, and see how they're positioning especially the bigger brands, because you would think there's a lot more money tied into the R&D of that particular campaign. So if they're running a 20% discount and it's a coupon off, or let's just say it's a coupon and not Prime exclusive, then they've done their research, and that's what their client base has responded to. It's not this fly-by-night, willy-nilly type of scenario, okay? So definitely, I guess flattery, copying is a form of flattery, but ultimately it's having the resources to do the research. If they're doing it, chances are they've done extensive research in why they're doing it. So
Right.
their why is a little bit more, I guess, more dollars behind their why.
Yeah. And I think you use like Levi's as an example, right? If
Mhm.
like Levi's is like the top guy,
Number
right?
one.
If
Yeah.
you're a small guy starting out, Levi's is not your competitor.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like and piggyback on what James said, like do competitor research, check it out. Find the guys that are your size and start chipping away at their pie. You start chipping away at their pie, you start getting a bigger pie, then everybody's going to start trying to copy what you're doing, but you've already moved on from them and now you're going up to that next level. And so you start just chipping at your competitor's pie at the level that you are. So if you just were like, hey, I'm going to make some jeans, if you go right after Levi's immediately, you're most likely going to fail. Most likely. You just are, right? They have more money than you do. They
Yeah.
have
Right, they got
more
more of a budget.
styles.
Yeah.
They have
Brand
everything.
awareness.
Everyone
yeah,
knows
everything.
Levi's. They've been around for
Yeah,
gosh, I mean,
like 200 years or something
so
like
many-
that, right?
Hey,
So
I have
long.
Levi's sitting in my thing that I will never fit in, but I still keep them for some.
those are
whatever
original.
reason.
Those are original from the
Yeah.
1800s, right? No.
Yeah.
You bought those brand
Thanks,
new.
man.
Yeah. So like we've talked about like, and I want to mention this, and I know we're probably running out of time here, but what I want to talk about here quickly though is we've kind of talked about sales and all of that. What we need to talk about is listings. Make
Right.
sure your listings look good.